This podcast was originally live-streamed on the Non Sequitur Show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/non-sequitur-show. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsexshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter, @nonsexshow or facebook.com/nonsexshow. That's NONSEQ show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of Non Sequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/non-sequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Welcome back to Non Sequitur. We are joined tonight by Aron Ra and Blacklab3lCopWatch. And rather than going through what we've got coming up for the week, if you were around, you got that. I just want to mention one thing that we've got on Tuesday, and that is that Kelly Jones, the ex-wife of Alex Jones, will be. I did that the other day. It drove him crazy. The live chat went crazy because I said the former ex-wife.
Yeah, I was like, did they get remarried or something?
Yeah, they drove him crazy. So I've been trying to get that out of my vocabulary, but apparently it didn't work. The ex-wife of Alex Jones will be with us on Tuesday. We will be talking about the custody battle that she had with Alex Jones, the many things she probably saw being married to a guy like Alex Jones, and what she thinks of the ban that Alex Jones has recently been subject to. I think this might be the first time she's spoke publicly about it, so that'll be kind of cool to have. But anyway, let's jump right
forward to that. I'm
really
looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be intense, and just watching some of her former interviews is already insane. So let's jump right into it. We were discussing previously about what a First Amendment.
We were discussing previously.
Yeah, that's true. We actually weren't anything. You couldn't hear us or see us. But Steve, does it look like we're okay now?
Well, they can definitely hear us. Let me get some audio level checks. If you guys on the outside feed, I've adjusted it down a little bit, kind of a.
Good.
I have to keep muting my mic because I still have 3 dogs that are in very good mood and want to fight right here in my.
Aron, your dog's making an appearance every show. Your dog's making an appearance every show. It's awesome.
All right. Audio's good, they said. Thank you, people.
Good.
They can see us and hear us. Now, I don't have a backdrop, but you know what? Minor problem. I don't care. Deal with it.
So we're going to, Black Label, if you would, please, let's go through what we talked about a little bit before again. Can you explain what a First Amendment audit is and why they are important?
All right. First Amendment audit to me, and I'm going to tell you what I believe it is an individual who goes out to government locations or public locations and tests the ability of that individual knowing knowing the Bill of Rights. Specifically in this case, First Amendment rights or First Amendment auditor, they'll go in and they'll see if they can respect the individual for filming, for asking questions, and if they don't have an issue with that, then that would be considered a pass. If they seem to have an issue, what they'll do is they'll record that and try to educate those individuals. Now, not a lot of the times you're gonna see videos that say pass all the time because there's this common thought that filming is illegal. You have to have permission to film another human being in the middle of a parking lot or out on the sidewalk or anywhere, but that's not true. So what these guys do is they go out, they'll film, let's say a post office or a police station for that matter. They'll go inside, they'll film, they'll just kind of make themselves known that they're there, and if somebody approaches them, they'll see what would happen. If they respect it, then it's pass. If they don't, they're going to continue recording and try to educate that individual to let them know that the First Amendment is not a scary thing. So that's what I believe a First Amendment auditor is supposed to be doing.
And how often do these either police stations, post offices, how often do they fail?
I see quite a bit failing. A lot of the times, these officers that I've watched and these government officials, they tend to automatically get defensive. I just watched one a couple of days ago where an individual was going inside of a courthouse asking for some documentation, and the girl got very, very paranoid because the camera was on his chest, like he had a GoPro on his chest, and the red light was blinking. And asked him immediately, "Are you recording?" He's like, "Yes, I record everywhere I go. We're in public. This is a public, area. This is a tax-paid building that I help pay for. So I'm here to get some documentations. That's all I'm here for." A lot of the times they'll end up calling the police and saying that they're illegally filming them without permission, which is not true. So a lot of these do fail. A lot of them do.
Is it? Let me play devil's advocate here. Is there a situation where if I'm in public and I'm being filmed, I think a lot of people are under the impression that unless you give express permission to be filmed when you're out in public, that they can't do that. Can you clear that up? Is that something that they can do?
Oh yeah, like imagine yourself as a blogger, okay, or a vlogger. Like say Casey Neistat's a good example. He goes around town, New York City. He rides his skateboard all around town. He records himself while people are in the background. Now sometimes he'll stop and there's people sitting on a bench and he's recording. They can clearly see themselves in the frame of the camera, but as long as you're not intruding on what they're doing or interfering with what they're doing, they should be fine. But what these auditors are doing is that if they're actually talking to their audience and somebody approaches them and says, "Hey, you're not supposed to be filming here," or "You can't film me," well, the most defensive thing they do is that I wasn't recording you. I was talking to the audience, but since you're here, you kind of put yourself into that mix. It's happened to me before. I was recording an incident. I don't know if you've ever seen the video where I was live waiting for another activist coming out of jail, where a girl thought I was recording her when in fact the camera was facing me and my fellow activist, and she just went off on me like straight up crazy and saying, "You're recording me." Well, an officer did come by, saw that, and eventually told her that it's not against the law to film in public, and that she just didn't know what it was. And so the officer tried to educate her, and we tried to educate her, but she ended up being what a lot of auditors call YouTube stars, because it's kind of like that reaction that people tend to like to see. But for me, that's not what I like to do.
YouTube stars.
Yeah, I don't like glorifying that. I personally like to educate those individuals, and a lot of the times it can get really crazy, and I'll be quiet. I'll let them do their thing, and people can make their own decision online. But that's it's a crazy world that people don't know a lot of the law.
A lot of times, and then I'll let Stephen and Aron jump in, but most often the police, either that's stopping them or the entity that's telling them that they can't do what they're doing, most of them end with either another police agency or a senior officer coming out to explain that what they are doing is completely legal, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, most of the time I do see, like say sergeants or other supervisors come out, or a high-ranking official that comes out and says they're perfectly fine filming as long as they're not interfering with business or becoming a disturbance. But I'm going to tell you something though. Like a lot of the times they're going to find whatever excuse so they can make them stop. I've seen, like, you're going to see a video. I don't know if you'll have time for that today or not, but there's a video I did where an officer would actually justify their actions by saying, if you don't stop your filming, I'm going to arrest you for disorderly conduct. Oh yeah. They'll find many different reasons to stop somebody from doing something. And those are the kind of videos that we want to share, because they are apparently abusing their power.
Well, Leon Valley too, I think, would be an example of abuse. Now, although there are some cases where and we'll get into this in just a second, where I think that the tact kind of exacerbates some problems. But Leon Valley is one of those where I think that they are way overreaching. And do you kind of want to speak to that a little bit and tell us what's going on in Leon Valley and why that's a game changer, I think?
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm going to make this disclaimer right now. I was not there. I was asked to be there, but I was not able to go. But I did follow the story very closely. What happened there was that if you guys remember, if anybody who's watching it didn't hear about a gentleman by the name of Mexican Padilla, he was doing a First Amendment audit trying to see if they would respect their rights, and he was walking down the street, and an officer came by and almost clipped him and knocked him, to the ground with his vehicle. Well, the officer didn't like Mexican Padilla for the way he was talking to him, and that's another story there. But he just pursued the issue. He wanted to make a complaint against that officer, and it just kind of built up from there. Eventually, long story short, Mexican Padilla was doing an audit inside the building where there's also a magistrate court and there was the police station all in one building. He asked an employee, is it okay if I go through these doors? Because I'd like to take some photos of the area. And she gave him permission to go through, and he went through, and apparently that wasn't allowed. And that's where he got arrested, and that's where the whole big issue came about. So with Leon Valley, with all this stuff that's going on, a lot of the activists kind of defended Mexican Padilla for what he did and what happened. And eventually, a lot of people paid paid the price for going there and doing updated audits. One of the biggest things that came out of all that, and it kind of jumps out at me, is that these guys were trying to make the town aware of what was going on by doing massive protests. And I say massive, I mean like 40, 50 people sometimes going there, and hundreds of people watching online. Well, as soon as they get there, the police were ready to go. They kind of blocked the doorways. They had new rules show up. They started patting people down. They didn't allow phones to go inside the magistrate court area or in the lobby. Prevented a lot of people from doing their normal business. Made people go back to the cars and drop their phones off. Eventually, what happened was that most every single activist that were out there were arrested because they were filming on public sidewalks. They were filming. The biggest issue,
phones confiscated.
Not only the phones, their video cameras, the SD cards, the batteries. Some people had their guns taken away. But here's where I think that Leon Valley did the horrible thing, is that they had an individual come out and say, hey, I just got off with talking with the chief. He said he's going to do a press conference in like 5 minutes, and he wants everybody to come out so he can make a statement. Well, right then and there, and this is my opinion, and you guys can tell me if you agree with it or not, but the moment you say I'm doing a press conference for everyone there, you have just now admitted that these individuals out here are all independent journalists. And now they're working under the First Amendment to be able to record something newsworthy. So they go and they end up talking to the chief, and next thing you know, all these officers come out and they start arresting everybody.
Right. I saw that video, and that's where I think that why I say that on this issue, I think that they were completely wrong, because he set them up hardcore to get them all centralized in one location. And during the press conference, they all come out, swarm them, confiscate their, that's where I believe James got his gun taken.
Yeah, they took the gun out of his car that they towed. That's a whole nother issue that's happening with the towing company that has deals with that city, which we have started to uncover. On that, you're going to see some new videos about that here soon.
Yeah, and with just one more thing, and then I'll let Stephen and Aron jump in. But with the Mexican Padilla thing that you're talking about, where it also went off the rails, because it wasn't a Mexican Padilla where when he went through the where the ladies told him it was okay to go, he ran into the chief of police there and was grabbed, thrown down to the ground, and whatever else by the police chief. Right.
He was. Yeah, there was the video shows one version from Mexican Padilla's angle, and I actually went down to Leon Valley myself from where I'm at all the way down to Texas. At one point, there's a video of it on my channel that I tried to do a FOIA request for the body cam footages, the hallway cameras, or anything that actually led up to that arrest, and I was denied. I didn't get any of that. They won't release any of that. They just I just got a copy of the report today of the entire incident that happened on that day. So I can't release that info yet because they're still, the only key individuals have that. But it doesn't look good for Leon Valley at all.
And a little update, I saw yesterday that Leon Valley has subpoenaed the Google accounts, like the YouTube information, and the Gmail accounts for the people who are involved in the lawsuit there too.
Oh yeah. They're I guess they're trying to find out. I guess that stems because of the whole threat against the police chief. apparently somebody out there who grabbed a hold of the police chief's physical home address, phone number,